Hi everybody, this is Jeremiah with Sage Family Farm. Moved inside for tonight's video because if you're local you realize that we've got some pretty crazy winds today, and trying to record outside was making it absolutely impossible to hear anything other than the wind noise. So wanted to do this video down by our garlic again, but weather didn't cooperate and had different ideas, so here we are. Wanted to talk a little bit more about the garlic developmental process and the phases of garlic and the different things we can do with them throughout their lifespan. We talked the other day about scapes and why we take them off and how the garlic develops up to that point. But there's some terminology that you'll hear often interchangeably, but there's actually some subtle differences between green garlic and spring garlic. And we sell both kinds here on the farm. We plant extra garlic so that we have enough for the dried and preserved garlic, if you want to call it that, that's going to last longer throughout the season. And also have time for both the green garlic and spring garlic. So the first bulb we're going to talk about is a true green garlic. This plant is just starting to scape. Wouldn't have pulled the scape off of this yet. You like to wait until they get down and they curl around on themselves. And you'll notice that the bulb on this is truly almost contiguous with the stem of the garlic plant itself. And it doesn't have any defined cloves in there. It's very smooth. And if we cut it, it's a smooth cut all the way through. You're just starting to get a little bit of the internal stem that you're used to peeling the cloves off of, and then you're left with the hard stem. It's just starting to form in the middle. But there's no definition to the cloves. You can't pull it apart. You're just starting to see some subtle color changes in there that indicate where those cloves are going to develop as they develop. And if we left this in the ground, hadn't pulled it out, and we didn't take the scape off of this, this would have turned into some very small cloves that are still garlic. Will still have all the characteristics of garlic. They're just going to be small, not really well developed. Moving on, this is one that we scaped the other day. So it's been about a day and a half without its scape on it. And you can see already we're starting to get some definition to the cloves inside of it. If we cut it open, it's getting a harder stem, and you can actually start to see better definition of each individual clove coming around the outside of this garlic here. The third type is actually true spring garlic. So the first one that we showed would be your green garlic. The second one's kind of an intermediary phase in there. The third one is a true spring garlic, where this was scaped about a week and a half ago. You notice that the bulb is way larger, and you can actually start to see the delineation of the cloves inside of there. If we cut this one open, there's actually a hard stem in there now, and you can begin to pull apart each of these cloves like you would a true preserved or cured garlic. The cloves come out. The covering that turns into the papery hard covering that you normally peel off, they're still living. They still have pliability to them. You could still eat these. They're chewable, but you begin to see that you have the true cloves. See if I can pull that membrane off. This membrane's all what's going to dry into that hard coating that you're used to having to peel off of garlic that's fully grown and matured and cured. But that's how that develops and starts, and that's going to dehydrate itself and turn into that hard papery. But there's a true clove in there. And in the middle of it is what becomes the hard stem in a cured garlic clove or garlic bulb, that you're going to have all of your cloves around the outside, and you're left with the little root ball and that longer piece of stem there. Now, the difference between these, true green garlic, you can cut a long way up this stem and use it like a scallion or a green onion or a leek. They taste very similar to leeks, except they have a slight garlicky flavor. This intermediary size in development, you can still use pretty much all of it. Occasionally, this stem starts to get a little fibrous and you have to take that out, but you can still use a lot of the green stem. This one, you're down to really just using the individual cloves, popping them out, and using them as you would any other garlic. If you wanted to use any of this as like a green onion, what you're going to want to do is slice down the stem, peel it off, because that hard internal stem is not going to be edible at all. And then this you can actually slice down like a green onion. You wouldn't want it to go much beyond this phase, because this even starts to get very fibrous and very tough. But right now you could slice it, you could use it like a green onion. But that's some of the different ways that we use garlic and the ways we offer it for sale throughout the lifespan of garlic, beyond just a scape and a fully cured bulb of garlic. There's some fun things you can do along each step of the process. And that's why we plant 7,500 or so bulbs of garlic a year, so that we have the opportunity to be able to offer for sale some of them at each stage and have enough left over to be able to store it through a good portion of the winter, use it for ourselves, and also have seed garlic for putting in this fall for the garlic crop next year. Thanks for watching.